Oh my God, oh my holy God, oh my God. Merry Christmas all. Thank you for this moment. And today's date is the 10th of December 2024. And as we head for Christmas, I wish you a very happy Christmas. And of course, as we look forward for the New Year's. Today we've got a couple of subjects. And firstly, my YouTube look or new look has been developed. And of course, you can see here up on the banner and the logo has been completed. Not because I wanted to, it was just somebody who offered me the service online, and I sort of appreciate it. And I guess that's the new look, and he's done also a little bit of work of my SEO, that's the search engine optimizations within the YouTube settings. The fine gentleman who did this for me is this particular guy, and you can catch him up here if you want him to do some work for you to upgrade your YouTube, of course, to give it a new look and give it some SEO, search engine optimization. Now, he is quite pricey, but you're paying for service. And he's from Bangladesh, I think he is. What I've done is I'm paying off his first due course or contract to do this for me. But I'm looking forward, maybe if it continues to work, and I see a lot of significant results on my YouTube subscription or advancement, then I probably go back and ask him to do a bit more of that service. But anyway, that's part of the realizations of preparing for the future. So you get a new look, and of course I've changed also the name. So instead of Stephen R4 to be R4 Fortune. It's just an idea that we had way back in 1992 maybe to decide to go for something much bigger than ourselves. And these are just ideas that we had carried through, and I hope you can learn some of our own ideas to apply in your own self to creating great fortunes for the future using investments. Such investments as trading on a financial market, of course, and this is only a demo account at this point of time, but the result has been, as you can see on the right here, has been quite consistent. So we're going to stay with that for a little while, and it's all to do with practice. The more practice you do, the better you're going to get, of course, and you'll be able to do successful things on the financial market to help you grow your fortune. I have many areas that I'm dabbling in at the moment. Of course, that is investment, crypto mining, and at times, I love a bit of gambling. There are different sectors altogether. You can choose whichever sector you want to commit yourself and go with that. Just bear in mind also, this is Al Amin who created that new look for my YouTube panel, my banner, and of course the logo. And the other subject I want to have a chat about is heroes. This is a recent article in America. And of course, if you know anything about America or heard anything, they just recently elected Donald Trump as their elected president. He'll be sworn in on, I think, the 20th of next month, on January 2025. But what's happening in America has been quite disappointing in many degrees. Since the Democrats came into power, they had this thing called open border. That means everybody can come in, you don't have to be checked to a certain degree, which suggests what the Americans doing with that sort of open border attitude, or saying, yeah, you can go anywhere in the country, you don't need a passport, there'll be no more custom office to check you. That's the sort of attitude having an open border. How far they were going to continue that, God knows. Absolutely God knows. But in general, what the Democrats were doing was just allowing illegal immigrants to come into the country, hoping that they can get them to vote for them, which of course was just the election just passed. The only problem was the American people woke up and said, no, Democrats, you cannot do that. Only the citizens of America can vote. So now Donald Trump, who's coming into office, got a massive task to deport most of these criminals. I mean, they are legitimate asylum seekers, of course, but it comes with the territory that, criminals. Criminals are good at finding loopholes to get into things. And that's just who they are. They're criminals. Now, Donald Trump and his team is going to deport most of these people once they locate them and send them back to their country. That's one issue. The Democrats also had come up with this crazy idea to allow children who are under, say 18, to allow them to be castrated. That means butchered at a young age, to change them to what they think or what they're fantasizing in their mind they should be. Or it could have been inspired by, say, a sexual abuse, for example. That the young lad or young man or young girl can change whatever they want to. Chop off their sexual organs, for example, at less than 18 years of age. Now, Think about this. If you as a parent allowing the child to go through that process, to allowing them to change their sexual orientation to what they think or fantasize they should be, you should be held criminal. You should be put in jail. Now think about what I just said. You're allowing a child under 18 to do that to themselves. Some of the young ladies I'm starting to see now who went through that, say 4 or 5 years ago, are starting to come out now and say, oh, damn, I didn't want to be a boy. They chopped my tits off, my breasts, and I want to have babies. This is later on in the years that young girls who want to transition to a male has found they don't like it. Now, in conjunction to support that, let's look at driver's license. I don't know in your country, wherever you are in your country. I think in New Zealand, you've got to be 16 before you can legally go and apply to get a driver's license. You can't vote also, I think in some area until you're 18, I think. Don't get me wrong. In some areas, you can't go to the pub and drink alcohol until you're 21. So if society has already known that children or young people have not developed their minds yet to be coherent and have those right attitude about, say, right or wrong. And if society has already known that in the past, that children has to be allowed to grow up to, say, 16, 18 or 21, whatever the age may be, what makes parents today think that those children or these children that, growing up in the new age have the brain capacity, the audacity, and the right and wrong sort of coherence to say, I'm a girl if you're a boy, or I'm a boy if you're a girl. They have no right recollection. They have no right to choose whether they're a girl or a boy. If you're, say for example, if you're a boy and you wanted to be a girl, they have no right for parents to say, yeah, I want to go through that transition. The child is allowed to fantasize. Have you ever heard something crazy? A child say, I'm an angel, and the parents take the child to the doctor and say, can you grow some wings on my child because the child wants to be an angel? Can you see the irony and the craziness that's happening with parents in America allowing their children to go through that transition? They're butchers. They're trying to destroy the young generations for being who they are. When they get to an age, say for example 18, they can make their choice. They can make those choices when they're that age. When they're so young, leave children alone to grow up. For Christ's sakes, leave children to grow up. When they're up, when they're grown, when they have brain capacities to choose right and wrong, then they can make those choices themselves. Parents should be locked up today for allowing their children to go through their phase, yet they can't get a driver's license until that certain age, which is no different. That's because society already knows, us as human beings already know, children needs to be developed to be able to make decisions. Now, coming back to what I was saying earlier, heroes. Here's a story that happened in America. Now, this happens also in New York City. New York City is one of those cities that they said defund the police. Now, if you defund the police, that means that no more cops is recruited to join, or their pay is dropped, or anything to do with the cops. Defunding the police, meaning also it should be no police out there. In a sense. Now, defunding should have been a criminal sort of statement. You cannot defund the police and expect society to continue in a rightful manner, because you and I know criminals will always be criminals. There will always be criminals. Criminals always out there in the real world, and their task and their fantasy and their desire is to do criminal things. That's just who they are. And if we allow criminals, which means defund the police, no more police out there to do the things they're supposed to do for society, or for people who can't, say, look after themselves like the older people, who then is going to look after our modern society? It's crazy for people to even suggest defund the police. So I'm saying this because of this young gentleman, Daniel Penny, who has been released after being convicted for helping the people in the train in New York. The news states, I'm not quite sure exactly, but anyway, Daniel Penny has been freed from the charges of killing a man called Jordan somebody. And that man, Jordan, had a criminal career history. And here are some of it. Jordan Neely kidnapped a 7-year-old girl in 2015. 2019, he did something different also. Punched a 64-year-old man in the face. 2021, slugged a 65-year-old woman in the face, broke her nose, and arrested 44 times, but never faced any real justice for terrorizing the New Yorkers. This is the man that died after Daniel Penny came into the aid of those in the train, because Jordan came into the train and probably on drugs or whatever, and making statement that he was going to kill people inside the train. Whether you hear that wherever you go on the public transport and you hear somebody come in and say, I'm going to kill all of you. I mean, what the heck would you do? Would you just laugh at him, watch him, or call the police? I don't know. I don't know what you will do. But in this case, the Jordan came in, screamed on the top of his head about killing people in the train. And don't forget that everybody's in the train. It's mobile. And only by the grace of God, this young man, Daniel Penny, took it upon himself to subdue this man called Jordan. But unfortunately, Jordan died after. It was stated that Daniel Penny, putting him in a chokehold, killed him. Now, we don't necessarily know whether he killed him on purpose, but we do know Daniel Penny stood up to say, no, you can't come in to a public place and say you're going to kill people. We don't, he doesn't know it, nor do I, whether the man screaming his head off, whether he's a crazy man or mental man, or he is actually going to do what he's saying he's going to do. Nobody knows. But somebody has to stand up like Daniel Penny and say, I'm going to do this on my own accord to look after these vulnerable people in the train. Unfortunately, the man, Jordan, died because of the process. Daniel Penny had to go to court to prove himself. He didn't intentionally kill the man. He was subduing him because what he was yelling about, that he was going to kill people. What in the right mind of any citizen to say, if a man or woman or whoever come into any public place and say, I'm going to kill all of you, I'm going to kill all of you, that everybody just stands back and watch? No, I'm sure somebody will stand up and say, excuse me, can you get out of here? But remember, they're in the train. They can't say, oh, get out of here. They were trapped with the man saying he was going to kill them. So Daniel Penny, of course, stood up, ex-Marine, I think he was, and just said, nah, settle down, held him down, but with a chokehold until police came. And of course, the police did come and found that the man was still breathing, but they didn't do CPR on the man to keep him alive. But anyway, the story goes today, thank God, Daniel Penny is a free man. He can continue his life, and I hope if he sees another person now out there that he just walks away. But I don't think that's his spirit. His demeanor is to look after the citizens of his city that he lives in, New York. And of course, you're a trained human being in the military to look after your country. And he did that. He did that perfectly, looking after the citizens of New York from a person who's saying he was going to kill people instead of watching and standing by. Thank God that he is free today to continue. And some of the crazy things that's coming up, like the BLM, Black Lives Matters. I call them something like BS, something monkeys. Anyway, the stupid people. Instead of these BLM people, Black Lives Matters, go and help the black people or vulnerable, the homeless, the crazy, the mental black people, the first thing they want to stand up to is come against people like Daniel Penny. If Daniel Penny was a black man, I don't think it would got this to this stage, who subdue the dead man, of course. But of course, because he's white, he's accused of something outrageous. Yet, people in the train testified and witnessed that this man did what no other man would have done, just to protect them. So being a good Samaritan can come against you. I'm not saying just you stop being a good person in general. I'm just saying this is just a case in America. I think I rammed on a bit more here. But nevertheless, this is a great story that I need to share. And I'm quite enthusiastic to see people, especially service people, stand up because they're trained. They're trained to protect the innocents, for example. And that was this man who stood up and said, no, I'm sorry, sir, you can't come into a train or public transport accusing and yelling to kill people because you might just do that. He doesn't even, Daniel Penny, I don't think at the time, know if the man had a weapon, it could have been worse off. Daniel Penny could have been shot if Jordan had a gun. Who knows? The great story today is, thank God, Daniel Penny is acquitted and continue his life. And I hope that the black people in America use your energy to help your people. Get out in the street, look after some of the homeless people, take them into your home. If you really like your black people, then go out in the street, take some of the homeless, especially in this Christmas time, give them a shower, give them some new clothes to wear, give them a feed, and maybe give them a room in your own house if you're so passionate about Black Lives Matter. That's what Black Lives Matters mean. Look after your people before they get into situations like Jordan Neely here, as we can see, 2015 all the way to just recently, of course. And if black lives matter that much to you, get out and help the black people or the African American people. But to come out to blame all these circumstances as racial, whatever, you're the racial one. You're the one with that racial discrimination against the white people. The white people might have the balls to stand up to a criminal, okay? Stand up to a criminal, whether you're black or not. It doesn't matter. It could have been a Chinese. Who cares? White people have got the courage and the spirit to say, no, you can't do that. You've got to settle down. And Daniel Penny doesn't know whether the man is crazy, as I said earlier, or mental case. It was just a total stranger that came in, busting into a mobile train, calling out he was going to kill people. I'll be jumping as crazy just like anybody. So what the? I might even have the audacity to punch the man in the head. Say, hey, settle down. You can't just come in here in a public place yelling that sort of abuse that you're going to kill people, because the person could have easily done so. But only in this case, karma came and took him out. Not a good story, but that happens. Criminal people, mental people that belong in mental home. Criminal belongs in prisons. That's what all these facilities are designed for, to try and give these people some sort of help. It's not a perfect help, but they're better off at these places as opposed to be, say, in the open society that can cause more havoc or issues among the citizens. But anyway, as we look forward for Christmas, I truly hope the people who call themselves Black Lives Matter get out in the street today, find some homeless people, and put your energy helping those people. Make your life worthy as a Black Lives Matter movement. Stop looking for people to blame for what you failed to do. If you love black lives, or if you love your black people, get out, help them. Get out. I'm sure there's heaps of black people out there who just needs that helping hand or loving support to get them ahead or get them to next year, for example. So Black Lives Matters. Stop wasting your time blaming people, but get out there and help the black community. Use your energy to get out there and help the black community. That's when you will really know Black Lives Matters really work. But when you come up and complain and blame, pointing fingers, and you want black people to come against white people, you don't belong in the modern society. You should be also locked up for stating things like, black people, get out there and be vigilantes also. Of course, there are black people out there doing great things also, standing up to those people who are doing bad things in society. You can be a racist person, whatever you wish, but this is not racist. This is just a common sense process taken on by a soldier, I think, or ex-soldier, to do the right thing. He's trained for it. That's his job. Even though he's civilian clothes, that's what society needs. People with some sort of training do what it needs to do where there's no cops available, because the cops has been defunded, of course. So society, wake up. Especially America, with these stupid sort of ideas and legislations coming in. Defund the police. Are you crazy? Defund the police and allow criminals to come into your country? Well, what are you thinking about? There could be a lot of crazy people, mental people in modern society. And I think to a certain degree, the mental health asylum needs to be reopened and put some of these people in there, because they need help to recognize society needs a good balance of good people. And we all know we can't get rid of criminals. Criminals are just criminals, and we've got to oust the criminals or balance it out with the good people. But anyway, better stop rambling. Better stop rambling. Anyway, here we go. Let's have a look at my new look, Ford Fortune. And thank you also for all my subscribers. I love you guys. You guys have a wonderful Christmas. Celebrate it. Enjoy life as we look forward for New Year. And as we look forward for New Year, something new also to do. And below my video here, do subscribe to my YouTube video, like it, and there should be some link also for you to join areas to improve your future fortunes. Now, if you're spending all your money, if you're spending all your money from your wages, for example, it's gone forever. It's spent, gone, bye-bye. That's why you got to go back to work to get some more. But if you learn to invest some of it, you don't have to invest lots of it. Say 10%. Just learn to invest 10% of your wages every time. I'm sure you're going to be a happy person in the future when you look back and say, wow, thank God I took the opportunity just to invest 10% of your wages and allow that to grow into the future. 10%. And if you go, say, 20%, even better. If you go even higher, hey, good to you. But anyway, this is Stephen R. Ford from R. Ford Fortune, creating fortunes for the future. We love you. God loves you. See you in my next video. Merry Christmas.